back with another episode of Acxiom After Work. I'm your host, Crystal Floyd, and I am so excited to be joined by Vicky Becart.
Thanks, Crystal. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for joining me today. So before we get started, tell me a little bit about what you do at Acxiom and how long you've been here.
I'm an expert product director, and I've been here for about 11 years. Right now, I'm a product manager on the data team, and I manage products like Partner Marketplace, email remarketing, Acxiom Semantic, and other data products.
Great. So we've gotten that out of the way. What we're really here to talk about is rock climbing.
Yes.
So you are very passionate about that. Tell me about the first time.
The first time that I went rock climbing, I was in high school. I actually went to high school in France, in my home country, and that was one of the modules that we could pick in our sports class. So I think I did that for about 2 trimesters, and I absolutely loved it.
So you've been climbing for about how many years?
No, so I've actually been climbing on the regular for about 6 or 7 years, which if you look at me, you can tell the math doesn't add up. I stopped climbing for a while, but I started again in my 20s.
So you can climb indoors at a gym or outdoors.
Yep.
What is your preference and why?
So my preference is to climb outside, but you have to climb inside to be better at climbing outside. Outside is just, it's the real thing. You're on rock, it's beautiful, you have the height, it's very fun.
So I understand there are different types of climbing. Tell us a little bit about the different types.
Sure. So when you think about rock climbing, you probably think about somebody climbing a cliff with a rope. That's what we normally call sport climbing. The way that works is you come up to a crag, a place where they have rock climbing wall, and somebody has previously bolted metal hardware into the wall. As the climber, I'm attached to a rope, and I will put carabiners in the wall, and I will put my rope in those carabiners as I go up, so that if I fall, the rope is holding me back and I don't fall down to the ground. There's a variation of that called trad climbing, where instead of somebody having placed bolt into the wall, there's nothing in the wall. You can show up to literally any rock face, and you place camming devices, and that's what holds you back. So that's a little scary. I don't do trad climbing. And then another common type that I do, and that's actually my favorite, is called bouldering, where you just climb short boulder problems. They're about 15, 20, 25 feet high, and you do that without a rope. You just climb it, and if you fall on a pad.
The movies, they make it look so much easier than that, and that's interesting. So tell me about why do you love rock climbing so much?
So there's a lot of reasons why I love rock climbing. The basic one is that I haven't had to exercise since I've started rock climbing. I just climb. I don't think about working out, which is really nice. There's also a very strong mental aspect to it and just logic aspect. It's like a puzzle. Figuring out how you're going to go from the bottom to the top is different for everyone, so you can't really cheat off of your friend. You have to figure out what's going to work for you based on your flexibility, your height. And there's just a lot of different ways, and it's just iterating and trying again until you can finally unlock this puzzle and get to the top.
So you talked about earlier how there's a mental component and a logical component to rock climbing. Tell me, how do those skills transfer into your work life?
So climbing is a sport that puts you out of your comfort zone. When you're showing up to a wall and you're looking and it's high, you don't know if you're going to be able to get to the top, you might fall, you might get hurt. It really forces you to be comfortable with things that can be scary, it can lead to failure. So when I think about work, for example, I'm a product director. We have to do some public speaking, whether it's training, talking to clients, talking at events. It's not something that I like to do, but climbing has taught me to be comfortable with getting used to doing those things, and also maybe taking on projects that aren't clearly defined, that I'm not set up for success, but being okay with maybe failing, growing from it, and trying again.
So let's pivot a little bit. So we are about to take a rock climb. What equipment do you need? What are the safety features? What is your checklist of things that you want to check off before attempting the climb?
So there's a lot of things that you need for rock climbing. I have a big backpack that's typically filled with 20 to 30 pounds worth of gear. So first you need a harness, because that's what you need to tie into your rope. So you need a rope. You need a belay device. If somebody else is going to be climbing and you're going to be belaying them, making sure they don't fall, you need a belay device. You need quick draws, which is what keeps you tethered to the wall. You need a helmet. You need chalk for when your hands get sweaty. You need shoes that are typically very tiny and very uncomfortable, and lots of snacks.
Lots of snacks.
Lots of snacks.
So do you typically climb solo or do you have a partner?
I almost always have a partner. Whether you're sport climbing and you need somebody holding the other end of the rope, or you're bouldering and you need someone to make sure, they're called spotter. So your friend are typically there spotting you to make sure that if you're falling, well, your head doesn't fall off the pad or your ankle isn't going to get twisted. So they're there to make sure to redirect your fall and help you and cheer you on.
So tell me about some of the different places that you've rock climbed and what was your favorite?
Oh, okay, that's a hard one. So I mostly rock climb in Arkansas. A lot of people don't know that it's actually a really good place to rock climb, and people are listening. Don't tell anyone else. So that's the main places that I go. I have been to Red Rocks in Nevada. That was really amazing. I rock climb in France, which is kind of the birthplace of modern climbing. I recently went to Cuba, and I got to do some rock climbing in Cuba, and that was really neat.
Wow. So do you know how many climbs have you completed? Have you been keeping tally?
I do actually keep a very extensive tally. I don't know the number, but it's probably 100, 200.
Wow. That's amazing. That's pretty impressive. That's really impressive. So if I was a beginner, what advice would you have for someone that is wanting to start out in rock climbing?
I would tell you to go find a rock climbing gym. So I go here in our local gym in central Arkansas. They'll show you how to do it safely, they'll show you how to belay someone, and you get to find out if you like it in a controlled and safe environment.
So is there like a community of climbers that you are connected with?
In central Arkansas, there's a very strong community because it's not, Arkansas is not a very big state. Climbing is not that popular of a sport here. So yes, there's a very tight-knit community. I go to the gym 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm always with the same people, and we're going outdoors. Next week, I'm going on a trip to Kentucky with those people. It's really fun.
So have you recruited any Acxiom associates to join you on this rock climbing adventure?
I actually have. You talked to him. You talked to Will Barton. Yeah, he has since left the climbing wall for skydiving, but he was actually one of my climbing partners, and we had an opening on the data team, so recruited him, and now he's one of us.
So can anyone do rock climbing, or is it a special requirements? Any guidelines?
Absolutely. The gym that I go to, they have kids that start climbing, really young. I have friends that have under 1-year-old and they're already holding on to the holds, and we also have some people that are in their 80s that are still climbing and enjoying it.
So it's open opportunities.
Open opportunities. As long as you can show up to the wall, you can make it.
Well, thank you, Vicky, for joining me for this episode of Acxiom After Work. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you today.
Thanks, Crystal, for having me. It's been really fun.
Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.